Hello, and welcome to Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom with your hosts, Heather and Rachel.
Together, we're here to talk about all things self-care, from fitness to mindfulness and everything in between.
Whether it's yoga, Tai Chi, Pilates, or practices like tapping and meditation, we're here to help you discover new ways to care for yourself.
We'll also share tips on positive self-talk, finding time for self-care, and creating routines that stick.
We're here to provide you with plenty of tips, tricks, and unsolicited life advice.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Join our community, and together we can explore the path to wellness.
Today we're talking about a topic that is the reason why we exercise beyond weight loss and body change. So this is a follow-up of an episode that we already did. This time we're going to go through scientific evidence of why we exercise. What are the benefits of the scientific evidence? And so, movement and everything like that is so much more than the way we look, what we weigh, things like that. And so movement is really important. And I want to stress, I know last episode we talked about, there were portions in the episode that we talked about, weight and things like that. But know that if you are a slender person, if you have, low body fat or whatever, you still need that movement, right? We still need to get that.
Absolutely. Just because you're thin doesn't mean that you're fit and healthy. And if you're also not moving,
yes,
you should be as well. This is for everyone.
Yeah, movement is just super important. And so today we're going to dive into some scientific evidence that Rachel found, and that is also in the same blog that we worked off of for the last episode. So we're going to just jump into it, and hopefully we won't stumble over some of these scientific
so we are not research scientists. Neither one of us are, a doctor or a psychiatrist. So there is our disclaimer. This is research that I found. I'm not going to lie. I used AI. I knew all the benefits that I wanted to discuss when I wrote the blog and when doing the show. So I went in and I said, okay, where can we find this information so that if anyone wanted to look into it more, they could then, find those articles and look into those findings for themselves. But just to let you know that the evidence is out there. It totally backs it. We're not saying to use exercise or movement as opposed to any other medical intervention.
Right.
It should always be done with the permission of your doctor to make sure that you're always exercising within your safety range, and should not be used in lieu of any other medical interventions that you may need. So
right. And I think it's important to note that what we talk about are things that are complementary to your life, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
And you have to govern your own life and do what's best for you and your body. So
these are just some things to maybe again add into that toolkit of your wellness and well-being. And it's the next thing to get information on, try out and see if it indeed works for you.
Yes. So, what did the study find about relationships between exercise and depression?
Okay, so for this study, they found that individuals who engaged in regular physical activity had a 25% lower risk of depression compared to those who did not exercise. And this is one of those realms in which I'm saying, if you're, dealing with depression, you should seek medical help.
Yes.
But know that in conjunction with whatever that medical treatment may be, as recommended by your doctor, moving and physical activity can help you improve how you're feeling, and maybe one of the ways to help deal with your depression or to help prevent depression.
Totally. Okay. According to the studies in Sleep Medicine Review, how does exercise affect the sleep?
Okay.
Yeah. I know we touched a little bit on this prior to, but this is more of the scientific piece of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted, like, I put this out there because I wanted people to see more than anything else that there is, research and findings out there that make exercise more valid to them. Because a lot of people are like, oh, you look at someone who's like super fit, right? Someone's in the gym working out, and you're like, what are they doing here? They don't need to be here. They've already reached like X goal. But that's like, you're not exercising really or being active to reach a goal. Like, you're doing it again for overall self-care, wellness, and all of that. So we're going to keep touching on all these other benefits, because to me, I think that's the most important thing to realize is exercise isn't really a means to an end. It's a way of enhancing your quality of life and well-being. And I think, to me, like, all of this, that is the one point that both of us and everything that we're doing are trying to accomplish and bring forth. Like, neither one of us is a fitness model. Like, we're not like the epitome of, but that doesn't stop us from going out there every day and moving our bodies. And then, you are who you are. Everyone should be, movement and exercises for everyone. So now I'm going to go back to sleep. Sorry. So now that I'm back on track. All right. So moderate to vigorous exercise significantly improved sleep quality and reduced the time it took to fall asleep. So I know so many people either struggle like falling asleep or staying asleep. I had sleep issues for so long, and exercise is one of the things that I did and continue to do to help get quality sleep. Now, I never had a problem falling asleep. With me, the issue was always staying asleep. And I have to say, the more regularly I exercise, the more I move my body. And again, I usually try to do like a wind down before bed, like move a little bit, stretch a little bit, like even if it's just like tense and release to get rid of some of the stress. It has improved my sleep significantly, like that. And that's me personally in my life. I use exercise for sleep quality, like, regularly.
Yeah, I can tell you, exercise, and when we look at exercise before sleep, right? We did talk about this in the last episode, but scientifically, right, you don't want to do real vigorous exercise.
Not vigorous. Yeah, that should be early in the day.
Right, before you go to sleep, just for the plain fact it relieves endorphin and releases endorphins and things like that. So it gets you kind of geared up.
And all of those reasons that we talked about before, like how exercise like improves, like it wakes your brain up a little bit too. So, right. And that's what's mostly going to keep you body-wise, regardless. When your brain is like active like that and firing, you're not going to fall asleep. That'll keep you awake even more than an energized body. Like when your mind is like kind of energized and invigorated and like thinking like that, it just wants to keep going. So like you need that wind down time. Your body core temperature needs to cool down. There's all these things that need to happen. So again, it is important as to what type of exercise and when you do it in correlation with a good night's sleep. So keep that in mind.
Right. So what were the findings in psychotherapy and
psychosomatics. Yeah.
Studies regarding energy levels in people who start to exercise?
Okay, so sedentary, and that's like people who don't have an active lifestyle. Anyone who does, spends a lot of time sitting like in one position. Just to clarify what sedentary is. People who started exercising reported a 20% increase in their energy levels and a 65% reduction in fatigue. That is huge.
That is huge.
Like 65%. I know a lot of us, it's very easy to become fatigued when you're sitting all day long, or anytime you're kind of like hunched over this way, it kind of closes everything off. It reduces circulation. It slows you down a little bit. Like that's kind of the position you want to put yourself into to kind of like relax and wind down. So if you're not moving and you're kind of like closed off like that, it will actually create like a kind of sleepiness and quite a bit of fatigue. And getting up and moving around, even again, in the most simplest ways, like making an effort to get up and walk around throughout the day, can significantly reduce your fatigue and increase your energy, like mental as well as physical.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And then how does physical activity impact cognitive decline?
Physically active adults have a lower risk of cognitive decline and dementia, which is true. So anytime that you are up moving around more people, the sharper your mind stays.
We also did discuss this in another one of our podcasts.
We did, yeah,
about Alzheimer's and dementia,
and
movement and meditation. How social activity also helps those cognitive issues.
I know there are numerous studies.
And so we have touched on this throughout different podcasts that we've done.
And we're gonna have a ton of crossover with this again, because we're whole beings, right? So anything that we're going to work on in one realm or another in a positive way or in a negative way is going to impact multiple systems. Like there's no way not to do it because we're not segmented. Like everything goes together, works together, binds together. Like
we're not two-dimensional.
No. And so it's just really, we will always have a ton of crossover. One of these things is going to affect multiple others, and then we'll come back like right around when we're touching on a different subject to something that we spoke about before. It's always going to happen.
And just to go back to dementia, Alzheimer's, cognitive thing. If exercise affects your sleep, if exercise affects your mood, if exercise affects, what your capabilities are, like your movement affects what your capabilities are, it's going to change your cognitive piece, right? And when you talk about the crossover, there it is. Yeah. Like that is so essential. Like to be able to have those things firing in the body to rejuvenate the brain, right? And so
absolutely,
we're going to move on to what does the review of Journal of Sport and Health Science say about exercising and immune deficiency or immune defense? Sorry.
Defense. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So regular physical activity enhances immune defense and reduces the incidence of common illnesses like colds and flu. So yeah, just you're going to boost your immune system just by being active.
The other thing is to recovery. When we talk about movement, right? If you have something that happens to you, broken arm, broken bone, surgery, or something like that, being a person that is active, right? You have a better chance of recovery. Right. Absolutely. Your recovery is a lot better because your body is like, man, let's get it
it's
going.
Used to working.
Yeah.
And that it really does help speed things up. You want to make sure that, you're not overly active if you are injured, but
right. Absolutely. But,
rest time is essential then, but it can definitely help, in recovery time when something does happen, when you have to, your body is going to come, it's going to work much more quickly.
And the other thing is the movement helps bone deficiencies and helps muscles and things like that. So when you are injured, when you are down and out, when you pull a muscle or things like that, your bounce back is a little easier than if you weren't active and moving prior to.
Well, yeah, you want to always be putting and especially us like women kind of in midlife, you want to make sure that you're putting a little bit of stress and gravity on your bones and muscles, because that is actually going to keep them healthier. They need that. So you want to even if it's just body weight, be putting weight through your bones, through your joints, because that's going to stimulate them to work. So even if it's just moderate physical activity, like standing more, doing more, active things, like putting a little bit weight through, it'll help in a lot of those ways.
And we talked about like just using your body weight for weights in our yoga episode. It you don't have to be lifting heavy weights, right?
There's so many great, like, I feel like apps out there now, like a lot of like Pilates and yoga apps that are doing like like using the wall and doing all that stuff, and that's all body weight. That's all body weight centered, which I think is great. But we also talked about just standing more regularly, more often throughout the day, and which will literally just put the gravity, which adds weight to it. You're not going to get as much of an effect that way as if, you're maybe like doing a little bit more weight through your body, but it's definitely helpful, and it's a place to start.
Absolutely. So what benefits of group exercise were highlighted in health psychology studies?
Okay. So people who exercise in groups reported higher levels of adherence and enjoyment compared to those who exercise alone. And it's that social component that we talked about before. We are social creatures. Like, it gives us a reason to go to meet with our friends. Like, it's motivational too. Like, when you're maybe not feeling like your best, when you see other people doing it around you, you like pick up on that group energy, and it makes it easier. And I know too, like, a lot of people are super competitive. So it's like, well, hey, she's going, so, I'm going to go because I'm not going to miss out.
The other thing is it holds you accountable. When you are in a class, you are away from, home distractions and stuff, and you're holding yourself accountable. When I'm home and I'm working out, if my granddaughter comes and talks to me, or if my son comes to talk to me, my husband comes to talk to me, somebody hollers for me, I'm like, oh, I don't have to hold this pose anymore. I'm going to talk to them. And then sometimes I don't even get back to it.
No, of course, like, my dog will jump on me. Like, you're trying to.
But when you go to a class, if you have the ability to go to the class, you hold yourself accountable for that time, that allotted time of that class. And you're there, and it's kind of like where it draws your focus to what you're trying to accomplish in that class, which is a beautiful thing. So what did research published in Public Library of Science indicate exercise and mortality risk?
Okay, so individuals who engage in regular exercise had a 31% lower risk of mortality compared to inactive individuals. So basically, if you exercise, you might live longer. Yeah. So it's a really good good indicator for overall health and well-being.
Yeah. And nothing's guaranteed, but
no, you could,
the reality
anything could happen.
Yeah. It can't hurt.
Right? No.
Movement does not, just movement. Like, you have to move. How does regular exercise impact joint health and mobility? We talk about this all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It says in older adults, but in reality, I know the study is through the Journal of Age Research, but this is really for everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Because the more that you're properly like utilizing your body throughout your life, the more you're going to get out of it, right? So regular exercise, including stretching and strength training, significantly improves joint health and mobility in older adults. The good thing too is, like, the more you do it throughout your life, the easier it then becomes to maintain. As you get older, the more used to it is. Like, when something becomes a habit, it then becomes easier. So even though this is referring to older adults, if you're younger, like, start now. It just becomes easier the more often you do it. And again, get up, move around, like, move your joints, because they will get stiff. There's fluids that come through the joints, right? And that only happens when you're moving. So in order to keep your joints lubricated, you need to move around. The more still that you sit, like, if nothing is happening there, your body's not going to release any of that. So again, yes, you can still be sitting. You can move your shoulders. circle your wrists. Like, I mean, a lot of people like wrists get like stuck and fingers like this. Literally, like, this is a part of movement. Like, this is a part of a movement activity. March in your seat.
Yeah.
Circle your hips, like pick up your knees, like give little kicks, rotate your ankles. All of that thing like just helps increase and lubricate your joints and makes it easier for you to move. Like your body is like getting triggered and saying, hey, we need this because we're moving. So it's going to make more and it's going to make enough and it's going to make it easier to move.
Yeah. Okay. So what effects does regular physical activity have on self-esteem and body image?
And it all depends. Like, right, I think too, just feeling better is going to make you more confident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
And that's it. Like whether you look a certain way or not, the better you feel and the better you feel about yourself, like the more self-esteem you're going to have. And
I also
like, that's it.
Too, when you gauge it on just range of motion.
Yeah, right. The easier it is to move, I think the easier it is to feel happy, like to feel like confident.
Like, blatantly, you know, I work with clients just to get up and down off the floor. Like that is huge, especially as we get older. You know, people don't sit on the floor a lot, and to be able to get up and down off the floor is like so vital. Like it is such an important thing. And the reality of it is, if God forbid you fall, can you get up?
Well, that's it. Yes. And with all of this, like the stronger you feel, the safer you feel even, right? So when you're stronger and you can do more things, you feel safer moving through the world. That's going to boost your self-confidence and self-esteem in so many ways. Yes. If you fall down on the floor, you want to be confident. Yes. That you can get back up. I mean, and it's funny too, because like, I mean, sometimes like with the word body image in there, I automatically, like my brain went to aesthetics, but it's not just about that. Yes. Like, body image can be your vision of your strength and your ability to safely, you know, move through life and move through your day. And that really knowing that, like, if you get bumped into and you're not going to fall down or like, you know, possibly break a bone and be frail, like that's going to improve your confidence. You're going to feel like, you know what, I can safely move through my day. I can go to the grocery store. I can go to the gym. I can go and be active and play with my grandkids.
Yes, absolutely.
I can get out there and have fun with my friends, like dance, have fun. And knowing that you have that ability is like, just, it's a huge boost.
Yes.
To self-esteem and confidence.
Feeling secure in your body is huge.
There are different ways to be physically active, right? Yes. So you don't need to have an actual like exercise routine. You could literally have like an activity routine. Like you can, when we're talking about like walking, bike riding, activity, group sport, anything like that, or even just like a routine of getting up and, you know, moving around, being mobile. And you want to find things that you like to do. Like if you like to dance, you know, you might want to just get out and go dancing more often, right? Because that's fun and you like it. And then that might actually motivate you to like maybe go take a Zumba class or some other type of, you know, just like aerobic type, like, you know,
or
cardio.
Or take a dancing class.
Or take a dancing class. Like just go out and take it, you know, take a dancing class, like our, you know, take a dancing class with your partner, like ballroom dancing, something like that, right? So you're maybe not thinking of that as like your regular exercise routine, but you know what? If you want a partner or going like once a week, a couple times a week, and then even practicing at home, guess what? There's your fitness and exercise routine right there. So there's all these little things. Like I know too, what I see come up over and over again in things that like are like moderate activity level, gardening is huge.
Yes.
And you've mentioned multiple times house cleaning. Yes. Right. So if you're moving around the house, like vacuuming, dusting, like reaching, you know, in corners and all that, mopping the floor, like cleaning the shower. Yeah. If you have an actual routine and you're putting in a good like 15 minutes in and like guess what? Like physically active. Like it might not be the most fun routine, but you're doing it anyway. You're putting music on. But look for those things that you enjoy, like those things that are fun to physically do, whether it's like, going to the beach or, depending on what time of year it is, like you like to go shopping. Great. Go to the mall, walk around the mall, buy yourself something.
Yeah.
Or not, like, even if it's a step, and give yourself a reason to like maybe walk from one end of the mall to the other, get your steps in that way. And if you find like what you enjoy about what you're doing, you're going to want to keep doing it, right? I mean,
absolutely.
We like things that feel good.
Yeah. And I think, and don't, if it's something that you don't like, don't give up. Like, look for something else. You know what I mean? There's tons of things out there. And we've also said this in past podcasts as well. It might be the person instructing the class, or it might be the environment where the class is, but try different classes with different instructors and different types of movement. And there's not just one type of yoga, and there's not just one type of cardio class. And
there's so much out there.
There's so much out there. And if you
ask your friends, see what they're doing, like find a fitness buddy, like
and honestly, if you have questions, put it in the comments.
We would love to. And if we don't know, we'll look it up.
But we'll answer anything that we already know. And if we don't know, hey, we can do a show on it. We can answer in the comments, whatever that looks like. So let's just review this particular piece that we've just went over, right?
Okay.
So these are the scientific benefits of exercise. We talked about engaging in physical activity. Had a the people that engage in physical activity have 25% lower chance or risk of depression. That's huge. 25% is huge. Any percentage is huge for anything to improve. So 25% is great. Moderate and vigorous activity affects sleep quality, faster time falling asleep, staying asleep. As long as you're not doing activity right before you go to sleep, you're in. Like it's going to, your body's going to say, hey, I need to rest to rejuvenate those cells that I just worked on and get that body going. This one was huge. It was sedentary people who start exercising report 20% increase in energy levels and 65% reduce fatigue. 65 reduced fatigue is like huge. That's, to me, that's amazing. 65% is such a huge number. And then helps with dementia and cognitive stuff and Alzheimer's, and like it changes the chemistry in the brain, right? That movement changes that chemistry in the brain, and it helps you think better. Regular physical activity enhance your immune defenses, right? People that get colds and things like that, it bounces you back easier. Movement bounces you back easier with any kind of surgeries or injuries or whatever. If you are a person that was moving before you get the injury, your recovery time is faster. People who exercise in groups, higher level of enjoyment. Oh my God, love that. Higher level of enjoyment, gotta have some of that. Regular exercise, including stretching, strength training, significantly improves joints, right? The movement of your joint lubricates those joints, gets those joints lubricated and ready to rock and roll. Physical activity changes self-esteem. When you feel safer, when you can move from A to B and know that you're stable and safe and things like that, feeling better, being able to get up and down changes your self-esteem, looking better in your jeans, less swollen, right?
Yeah, just that little bit of like less flow, like less.
Yep, totally changes your self-esteem, and just the way you feel, the way you physically feel changes your self-esteem. Find the fun things that you can do. that changes the brain, right? It gets the brain going, and it gets the brain like, what do I do next? What can I do that is a movement practice, right? What can I
This feels good. We want more.
Yes. And so, so we're just here to hype you up, tell you to move, ask us questions. We want to be supportive, and we want to hear about your journey. That's the other thing.
Absolutely.
If you are listening to us and you are on this journey of the quest of better health, meditation, self-esteem, and self-care, let us hype you up. Tell us about your journey. We're proud that you're just here, right? We're proud
absolutely.
That you're showing up. And so we really appreciate that.
Also, if you have something that you feel passionate about that, we haven't discussed, or you like to hear us discuss, or like a story that you would like us to share, just reach out. Who knows? Like, we can, you can be our latest inspiration.
Until next time, we appreciate you.
Thank you for indulging us. We really appreciate that.
Thanks for listening to Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe or follow us wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on social media for more updates. See you next time.